Alright, I'm doing it. This, well, okay, first of all, welcome back. Justice Privilege with James Patrick. I'm James Patrick. Um, the first episode, um, sometimes when I get nervous, I have okay, let me start again. The first episode I released, there was a lot of nerves involved. It's 3 a.m. now too, that's just kind of how I operate, but it was 3 a.m. and I kind of just like sporadically did it to kind of just like get it out of my system, because sometimes not sometimes, the hardest part of anything is starting it, right? So also I don't know where to look. I actually do have notes this time that pertain to what I want to talk about. Um, okay, my door's closed. Uh, I put together El Casa a little bit. This is the design choice I decided to go with. So that's really the major addition. But yeah, so like I said, the first episode or whatever was, I was just kind of getting things out. So I just kind of want, because I don't feel as nervous now. I more so was like thinking about this as something I wanted to do and was like looking forward to, as opposed to like something I felt like I just had to get out right. Like I took my time throughout the last couple of days. I think it was actually a week. I think it's my last day off. Yeah, yeah. I end up doing this on my day off is how it works out. Um, so about a week. I've given myself a week to. I watched or listened to the first one, and because I think it's good to kind of go over your work and see how you do. Just kind of see how you want to do better. First note I'll give about that. I was leaning back like a fat sack of shit the whole time, chilling, because I'm chilling in my room. So I'm gonna try not to do that this time. Um, Bad spectacle. Don't think it organizes your thoughts as fluidly, and I'm not chilling. I'm doing something that I spend a lot of time thinking about. So best I can do is give it my best foot forward. Right. I kept saying my opinion is more important than yours the first time, the first time, which doesn't make any sense because the whole point is no one's opinion really matters, especially not mine. But I was kind of like nervously saying it as like I get spooked out at night, dude. I don't want anyone to walk in on me doing this. What was I saying? Fuck. Okay, I don't care if anyone walks in on me doing this. I'm doing what I want to do. But I kept saying my opinion is more important than everyone's, and especially mine's not important. I was more so saying it as like, and to kind of touch back on like my whole social media rant thing about how like it really alters your perception or whatever. Like, anytime that you upload anything anywhere, right, you are at least acknowledging the fact that someone could see it or engage in it or whatever, right? So I was more saying like my opinion is more important than yours because I was like in my mind overriding that thought of like what I'm saying is gonna not be taken properly by someone, but I don't care because that's the whole point. I just want to talk about things that I think about all the fucking time, and I think this is a good way to get it out. And I really enjoyed it the first time I did it, and so yeah, I'm gonna try to keep doing it. Uh, I upgraded. I'm not gonna be blowing fat clouds in your face. I've got no free promo. Just kidding. It's some sort of nicotine pouch. They're called Rogue. I have problems. No, I don't have problems. What am I saying here? That's redundant. Everyone has problems. No, but more so being, I felt like the noise was annoying. Hold on one second. It's just like, come on, get a grip. Um, So yeah, my opinion is not more important than yours, and your opinion is not more important than mine. It's all perspective. Everything is subjective, except for your objective view. Think of it like that. But isn't your view subjective? Ah, we've run into a paradox, huh? Anyways, also another interesting thing. I was afraid to say it was like a podcast. I was like literally too nervous to say that word, which I don't know why. I don't even know if this would be considered a podcast. I suppose that is like the structure in which I'm designing it around in my mind, like the podcast I take in, right? I'm kind of projecting how I want to do it into this, right? But that's all. It all stems from podcast. I'm sorry, I keep like looking at the camera and then like looking here. I don't know where to look. Maybe I should. I don't want to do that. It seems weird. Because then I'm really just talking into the abyss. At least I'm like bouncing my thought off myself. And it's like a visualization. What I'm saying is like I have the camera, and then I have the camera display on the screen in well here. So this is how I'm rocking right now. So yeah, obviously I'm doing good. But so I have. Well, that's not good, but I think you get the point. Okay, hopefully that's close to the same. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm clearly overindulgent. I drink water. Smoke and intake nicotine products. I was in my car, kind of collecting myself and my idea. Well, not my car, in the car that I'm was sitting in while I was smoking. Um, Marijuana. So there's another substance. I think that's three that I just named. I also have Powerade, all sorts of different things. I'm doing good. I like all those things, and I think about this a lot. I go through a lot of phases, but I also have a lot of constants, right? So let me hide the notes so I can think about this. I go through a lot of phases, but I also have a lot of constants in the sense that I'm kind of always doing the same things. You know, like I'm a really indulgent person, right? So when I really like something, uh, I'm all in. I'm fucking in. And then I kind of swing out. But what I mean by constant is like I always have something that I'm like constantly on, right? But I go through phases of different things that is, and I think everybody is like that. So these are the phases that I'm in right now. Nicotine is relatively new. Probably within the last 7 months, I added it into rotation regularly. I'm kind of starting to swing off it now. I'm kind of just bored of it. At first, it was fun, but then you use it for a long time, and then it's not as fun. So I'm kind of getting bored of it. I do like mental clarity it provides, but and the reason why I'm doing the pouch thing or whatever is because I already okay. I already smoke weed, smoke that reefer baby, and so which is combustion of a plant, right? So there's all sorts of like vapors, or not vapors, oil, well, maybe vapors, oils, all sorts of shit I'm taking in, right? Like smoke mostly. Oils and vapors is for vaping. That's I got confused there. My apologies. So then I'm also adding in vape, which is just disgusting oils and chemicals that we don't know what they're gonna have the long term effect of. Not that I really care what the long term effect of it is. Not to say I don't care about my health, but just to say anything within the Industrial Revolution that has been considered new and there has been like mass popularity behind it, there's always long term repercussions that are not able to be foreseen when it's being like mass rushed out, right? Cigarettes is kind of like the grandfather example I'm thinking of. Um, However, we pretty much know what they do to you, right? And we know what smoke and smoke inhalation and combustion of whatever's in them does to you. Vapes could be close to the same, but they could also be much worse. Why could they be much worse? I don't really know, but I could hypothesize. Probably because there's no like anything else that humans smoke, and maybe I'm overreaching here and I'm missing something, but it's all combustion of something mostly that, well, that's not true because I suppose with like crack and stuff like that, it goes to a boiling point and then it vaporizes. No? I don't know. Point being, but we know that that's probably not good for you either, right? So, I don't know. You kind of just pick your poison. It doesn't really matter. Vaping phase, probably like 7 months now. I'm kind of sick of vaping. I do like nicotine though, so I might try the pouches for a while. Caffeine, probably really got into it for going on half a decade now. Marijuana has been, one could consider lifelong, one could consider, what is that, 3 years? 3 years now, about 3.5 maybe, of everyday use. Maybe two. No, going on 3.5 now. Yeah, I had 18 years of my life, 19 years of my life, where those were a never thing, right? Like when I was growing up, and partially because of the environment that I was growing up in, um, everyone was kind of, how do I describe this? Everyone was kind of renting out parts of their consciousness to different substances or uh, conscious altering substances. Um, and I had like a strict, like, I'm not even taking ibuprofen, bitch. Like, I was really kind of a, I don't know what the word is, pansy. I mean, yes, but um, I don't know. I was like a dare, like the drugs administration, safety administration. Like I was like a dare poster child. I was just like, say no to drugs. Like drugs are not the answer. I'm not saying they are, and I'm also not saying sobriety is the answer. I'm just saying you can find answers within each one. So I had 18 to 19 years of a completely clear mind. Again, that was through all of my childhood and developmental years. Um, but I think I've gained a lot from the alteration of consciousness, the alteration of my perception, um, and find that there are more benefits, if I'm really honest with myself. Are there more cons than benefits? Caffeine, con, pretty well adapted. The one con to marijuana that I would say almost makes me want to stop using it regularly, um, is how it disconnects you from like your REM sleep cycle, I think, or REM is rapid eye movement, which is the dreams, right? I believe so. Whichever one you dream in, either you dream in deep sleep or REM sleep. I believe it's rapid eye movement sleep, but it disrupts your pattern, I suppose. Maybe like your entry into it, like it kind of just negates it almost. Um, but also before, okay, so I say that because I wish I I find dreams very introspective, and a lot of time the intuition that you silence throughout the day, it's like your subconscious sits you down in a movie theater, straps your arms and your legs to the seat, and says, "Hey, motherfucker, like this is what you're ignoring, right?" And you can find that connection within dreams. Um, but amongst my family, we more so have, I mean, very active imaginations to a degree. All of us, um, that we have to almost like numb with substances, which probably isn't the right approach, but what I'm taking for right now, and I'm always searching for different methods. Um, Sorry, maybe I should. I don't know. And I'm always searching for different methods. Uh, I'm not apologizing anymore because it distracts my train of thought. And this is the one I'm on right now. Um. Oh. We kind of have active imaginations, nightmares. We have kind of like the curse of nightmare, right? So before I was actively using marijuana, um, my dreams were constantly that of some sort of like anxious chase, right? Or me running from something. I'm gonna save the dream topic for a different one because I could probably talk for an hour about that. But more so, it makes it really hard for me to sleep and to even get into those like deep sleep patterns and feel like I'm well rested because of how vivid my dreams are. Um, so that con can sway right back to a positive, right? Uh, why are my dreams? I'm gonna put a pin in that. Um, so that's like the one con that I could say marijuana has. Vaping or just like smoking of like extreme chemicals in terms of like cigarettes or just any form of like nicotine combustion. That's like pretty common. I'm sure I could go about smoking all natural tobacco or something. I don't know. Point being, so it's just a phase. It's just a phase. It's just a phase. And one day I'll be in a different phase. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm gonna open up back up the notes now because I feel like I've got that out of the way. So yeah, I don't have problems. Just want to be clear about the phase I'm in. I'm gonna stop apologizing because what am I apologizing for? Am I apologizing to myself? What do I have to be sorry about? Hope you can see the peril there. One thing I love about disabled people is that they always find a way to get it done. Like, if someone is mentally challenged, their hobbies, their favorite, dude, they're gonna get it done. They are gonna get it done, brother. They're gonna get it done. Get her done. Get her done. Larry the Cable Guy is pretty much like the spokesperson for retards. It's ironic, which his catchphrase is "Get us done." That's where my mind went there. Something else I've been thinking about is that so people that believe in incarnation or rather reincarnation. Well, I suppose reincarnation starts with their first incarnation. Whatever. Um, Being me as well, I believe that that is probably a probable example of that, and not necessarily in maybe the uh, standard form. What the fuck did I just say? Form that is discussed, maybe in terms of like Buddhist texts that I'm not even really familiar enough with to give my opinion on. But just saying, I think in some way you chose to be here, and so if you chose to be here, that means you had to come from somewhere else. That you see what I'm saying? Anyways, um, so people with that view, I think we're quick to judge atheists, saying like, well, I suppose that's also the point is that they're not judgmental. I have a problem judging atheists because I'm so sure of my viewpoint of like oh, I've been here a long time and maybe I got a long way to go, but that's just the way it is. I'm just a all abundant being in a ocean full of things to attract, and some of those things I'm attracting are lessons. Some of those things are Sydney Sweeney looking broads. You know what I'm saying? Either way you go about it, maybe each one of those things are lessons. Um, but because I have that viewpoint, I'm quick to dismiss the notion that people are like, nah, I'm done after this. Like there is nothing after this. It's just sort of dark, all restful sleep. You know, and what um, I don't think that you should dismiss that because if I'm so sure of the idea that you chose to be here and there's like a reincarnation or something, and that's the way that I'm hardwired, right? Like that's the view that I've decided to take, and that fits what I feel inside that no one could ever describe. That's I think that that's right, right? Like that's the way I'm hardwired. So what if atheists are hardwired in such a way that they're sure that they're going to meet a deep, meaningful, restful sleep or whatever because they're on their last incarnation, right? Now, then the question is posed, James, well then why are not all atheists, obviously that's a blanket statement, but like why are some atheists like terrible people, or why are some atheists amazing people, or why are atheists, if they're on their last incarnation, shouldn't that mean they're like have learned all their lessons? I don't know. Maybe the lessons that they've learned have through all their incarnations, and that they're hardwired in a way that they're sure that this is the last one. Because they're hardwired in that way, that it kind of gives them a they're so far into their incarnation cycle that they've subconsciously become aware that this life doesn't matter. So whatever you do doesn't really matter because you know, maybe their lessons come easier to them than those of us that uh feel as if we have a long way to go, you know? So I just wanted to say shout out to all my, non-believers out there, 'cause I believe in you, baby. And that's good. Another thing I've been thinking about, I think a lot, um, dude, we give so much shit to hoarders, and we revere Egyptians so highly. Egyptians were so and of course we're like projecting like our spiritual belief system today onto Egyptians then, but hypothesize with me. Egyptians were so spiritually connected that they knew that there was life beyond death. You know what I'm saying? But they were still like, "Hey, can y'all make this room a little bit more cozy for me?" You know, for my lifeless corpse that I'm positive I'm more than. But just could I have all of my goods and riches, please, as the all-powerful supreme leader of ancient Egypt, please? You know, I think everything is gonna be fine. All right, I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna get shot up to the top of the pyramid or whatever. I'm gonna hit the stars, whatever bullshit they told us, uh, and it's gonna be great. But can you make sure I got my 20 cans of cream corn, please? You know what I'm saying? I don't. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. My dad hoarded a lot as a child. He had all sorts of mental. My dad is like a diagnosed retard, like, uh, in the sense that like he's brain dead, right? I forget the name of the condition or whatever it's called, but he has something in his brain that if he feels too much emotion, regardless of good or bad or joy or sorrow or the full spectrum of emotions, mostly more like intense emotions such as like anger or like passionate love. He wasn't making passionate love to me as a child, just to make that clear. But you know what I'm saying? He's my father or whatever. Like sometimes anger is just the spokesperson for love. You feel me? Um, but when he feels those intense emotions, he literally like clicks out. Like he doesn't go unconscious in terms of like he like drops unconscious like physically, but rather he is not like my dad can do something out of anger or whatever, and then you can talk to him and he will gaslight you. That's like what it feels like, right? Um, he'll be like, I didn't fucking do that. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I was never there. I didn't do that. What do you know what I'm saying? And then that starts to like trigger him and spiral him more, and he's like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? So you have to, anyways, um, because he would click out and he's not there, but he's still there. You know what I'm saying? So I wish I could think of the name of the disorder. Maybe I should look it up. 1 second, man. I don't know how to word it properly to look it up. I'll just have to ask him. But because everything I was looking up was saying that he was fainting. He doesn't faint. He's still physically. It's almost like he's sleepwalking. That's a good way to put it. Let's just say my father has a brain condition where when he feels too much emotion, he essentially sleepwalks, right? And then we call that the other dad. But he's a good guy. But he would hoard a lot as a kid, and we would give him a lot of shit about it. Like, why do you need 14 wrenches sitting next to your chair with uh, one pair each of 4 different pairs of boots, or one boot each of 4 different pairs of boots? You got 3 coffee mugs here. I think that one has sand in it. We live in Oklahoma. How does that make sense? I've never lived in Oklahoma in my life. He just always had shit. And he's like, oh, I gotta fucking, I'm gonna need, I know how to use that, right? But he was still alive. But yeah, Egyptians were the all-knowing and would take 14 dinosaur-shaped flosses to the grave with them while they were shot to the stars. I love Egyptians, brother. Hey, shout out to my Egyptians. I think that was a bit Japanese. I think every accent I do is. Maybe I should stop doing accents. Um, Dude, you know what I was thinking about the other day? Um, because as I mentioned, I've been thinking a lot about wanting to do this podcast or video diary entry, if you suppose. Um, you could put it that way. Video, Jester's privilege, baby. It doesn't matter how you want to label it. It is what it is, and that's what I like about it. With James Patrick, yours truly. In case you didn't know who it was. Um, but I was because my roommate has a family over right now, and so I was thinking about like, let's say this was Tuesday, and I was planning to sit down and do this on like Saturday night, right? So Sunday morning, like I am right now, and I was thinking, but like, oh, when would be a good time to do it? I don't want to like bother the person sleeping because they're sleeping in our living room, which I'm like projecting my voice into, through the wall that is behind the place that I'm being recorded from. So behind you, um, you're in my living room, and I didn't want to bother you while you were sleeping, um, and I also didn't want to bother my roommate, but I wanted to try to get the sun involved, like the physical sun involved, um, get some natural light. But it's 4 a.m. as I normally do. But I was thinking about all these good times to do it, and I realized I was sitting in an empty apartment for probably 2 hours. I was thinking about wanting to do that, like, or rather do this, for since I uploaded the first one right after I did it a week ago. So 3 days in, I'm constantly thinking about it. I have a perfect opportunity to do it. I'm thinking about when's a like opportune time to seize the moment. And I was in a moment that could have been seized. You know what I'm saying? I could have done one then and done one now if I had took myself out of my thought process for a second and just said, why don't I stop thinking about doing it and just go do it then? Why can't I do it right now? Is there actually anything that's holding me back from doing it right now? No, there isn't. Is there anything holding me back from doing 5 push-ups right now? No. Okay, well that was a fucking bummer. I did my push-ups. But yeah, I often think about being in an opportunity, or think about seizing opportunities when I'm in an opportunity or in a moment that I could seize as an it'll fix itself. Um, so it's I say that to say if you want to do something, you should just go do it because you're probably thinking about wanting to do it when you could actually just be doing it. And that's important to keep in mind, you know, because okay, let's say something takes you, and I don't want to say 15 minutes because that's real easy to kill 15 minutes worth of time thinking about something, but let's say something would in reality take you 72 hours of legitimate work. So, not like 3 days worth of work, like 3 8-hour shifts, but let's just saying you sit there and you actually dedicate 3 full days worth at different times, but for 72 hours worth of time, you're working towards whatever you want, right? How many times do you think that instead of just dedicating the random 30 minutes to slowly climb over like the mountain that is whatever you want to accomplish or whatever, how much time do you spend like sliding back down the mountain thinking about like, damn, I could be climbing this fucking mountain right now, you know? Like seriously, which one do you think proportionately you hit faster? 3 days of 72 hours worth of actual like dedicated work, 3 hours here, 4 hours there, 30 minutes here, compared to how often do you spend thinking about how often you want to be doing? Because that's something I do a lot. That's something I do a lot, you know? But I'm also kind of like the person that, and as you can see with my assortment of different cognitive enhancing substances, I am. Dude, I'm not afraid to put my hand on a hot stove. I'm not afraid to put my hand on a hot stove. What do you mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is, like, picture yourself as a child, right? And your parents are there because they have anywhere from like 20 to normally like 40, maybe sometimes 60 years of experience at what they're trying to, at the thing that you're learning how to do, and they're there to kind of guide you, right? So, an example would be as a young kid, you're in the kitchen. You know, if you were fortunate enough to have your mom there with you, maybe it was your dad, maybe it was your, excuse me, maybe it was your nana or something. You know, whoever you had, they were there, and you were fortunate enough to be able to eat, and they were cooking something for you. As you can see, I'm very fortunate enough to have had the ability to eat. Um, gluttonous pig. But say they're cooking at the stove, right? And you're hanging out with them in the kitchen. And, you know, they're whipping up some of that mac and cheese or something. And you're a kid, everything's kind of like a new thing, everything's kind of fun and you want to know a little bit more about it. So you touch it or you look at it or you smell it or you put it in your mouth or you throw it or kids do the darndest things, right? Um I'm the kind of kid that my mama would tell me, you know, James Patrick, don't, hey, she'd do that, hey, hey, and then, don't touch that stove, boy. The stove's hot. No, and I was always the kind of kid that I would like look at her. She goes, boy, don't you? And I'm like, I'll slap the stove. Sometimes it's for a laugh. Sometimes it's out of curiosity. Sometimes it's just because I genuinely don't believe what the person is telling me, you know? And which is funny that I'm that way because I had this one criticism, or I've had this criticism for a long time. When you were in school, right, and say, if you got to school early like I did, not because I wanted to be there, but because I was poor, and poor kids get there when you're told. Um, so I would be at school mad early, right, when I would show up, and I would, and I don't fucking care about dilly-dallying or being, if I'm at school and I'm already there, I'm just like, let me just fucking get this over with. So if I'm there real early in the morning, I'll go stand in front of the class until the teacher's there and opens up the door. That way I can go in. Because I'm not doing anything else. I don't care. I'll just stand there. And I always thought, dude, it fucking boiled my blood. And I'm standing there next to a locked door and you can see through, because in schools, like school classroom doors, they all have like that like rectangle window, right, that you can see through. And it's fucking dark in there. You can clearly see all the chairs are up. I'm standing right next to the door. For someone to walk up next to me and have the audacity to try to open the door, I just, I gotta turn on the AC again, bro. That just genuinely upset me. I'm sorry. Hold on one second here. Wow. Yep, there you go. See, told you. Um, yeah, that shit really upset me, but I'm the same way, you know what I'm saying? I'll walk up and twist that knob, maybe spit on that knob a little. Um, is it good to not believe anything anyone tells you? Is I mean, I, I'm a bit of a skeptic, if you will. Um, for good or for worse, I think it served me well. I think it's always important to do your own due diligence. I also will regurgitate any talking point that I find interesting enough, most of the time without researching it myself. Um, so take that how you will. I kind of forgot what I was talking about. I feel like I need another rogue pouch. Oh, free advertising. Um, but wouldn't it like, wouldn't it just like fucking feel so good though? To just be like, oh, that's the truth. Okay, that's good for me too. You know, and I think more people do that than maybe even I think people do that. I think that that's like a kind of like almost like default programming for a lot of people, and I think that they feel good doing that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Matter of fact, in a lot of ways, I envy them. But also I don't like being, ironically enough, a fool. I don't like to feel duped. I don't like to feel, and who does? Um, and who does? I thought something just jumped up on me, but the cat's not in here, so. Fuck, that just completely derailed me. Maybe that means I wasn't supposed to be talking about it. Maybe I should stop being such a skeptic. Maybe I should stop being so shitty. I think addiction, as I have brought up a couple different times about the different. Okay. Ah, fuck, I dropped it on the fucking floor, dude. God damn it. think termites like nicotine. Hope that's not the case. I don't really want to do this either. But I think addiction is freeing because I think it kind of connects everyone. Well, I should say this. I think addiction's a strong word. I think the dependency on substances is because it easy and I mean, yes, this is an original thought. But I think the dependency on substances by myself or even by people I know is because I think it allows you to connect to the part of yourself that is like completely free of all the inhibitions of just like clear vocal communication, right? Like you just kind of say what you think. It's not really that big of a deal. Fuck it. Maybe you say something racist. Maybe you don't. I don't know how you get drunk. I think I go back a couple lines in my ancestry when I get a little alcohol in me. That's just me. I'm Celtic, all right. So don't give me none of that slavery bullshit. Um, and I suppose that's also touching on something that I was talking about in the first one too, about how like, or earlier rather, where it's like, because most of the communication done. Do I speak for most people or do I speak for myself? Do I speak for most people from the perspective of myself or a perspective that I understand? Perspective that I understand. Most people spend most of their time communicating through ways that really aren't, well, like face to face, right? Now, especially today, that is. A lot of, like, let's say you physically speak 10, 10,000, let's keep it a whole number. Let's say you physically speak 10,000 words a day and you're around my age. The majority of people, not even around my age, even anyone who has a cell phone, the majority of people type more words per day than speak. And people throughout history have always like written and have always took in words through different forms of literature or like scientific papers or religious, ideological papers or um, scripture, which is also the word I was looking for in the first one. Um, Damn it. What was I talking? Sorry about this. If I could keep it straight. I mean, this is why I want to do it a little bit earlier. That's not the case. But you type more words than you speak. And you would take in all these different like words and stuff, but it was never constantly about something. Well, it was about something, but it was never constant. Like if you were journaling, it was about you. If you were taking something in, it wasn't something you could interact with, right? Like I don't think that you were supposed to. I think things that are written in ink, unless specified, should be objective. And I know that kind of contradicts the previous point of what is subjective and objective, except, But, you know, and the amount of things you take in on a day to day that have all sorts of. I mean, if pick one issue you can think about, whether it be current event or something in pop culture, or you know what I'm saying. If pick one issue, search that on any search engine you want, you will find an opinion from every different which way, bringing up things that you might think are completely irrelevant, but are more important. You know what I'm saying? There, you can find any like if let's hypothetically say you're a new parent and you're up at 4 a.m. and you are Googling, why won't this fucking baby sleep? How do I make a baby sleep? Is it immoral to use chloroform on a baby to sleep? If you continue to keep searching just normal things that parents search at 4 a.m. when their crying child won't sleep, it will eventually take you along a path to where you'll start to be convinced to chloroform your baby, and it's okay. Or you could go down a path where they'll say if you go out into the foliage behind your house and you collect 4 rosemary Brussels or whatever, and you concoct this remedy for the child, and you rub it on the child's chest, and you say, "Sleep now, child." You know what I'm saying? It's you. It's everywhere, and I don't think that's a bad thing inherently. I think that it can be good, but before it was like you had to choose to go pick up the book. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to always rant about this, but even though it is something that frustrates me and I struggle with, it's kind of rounded back to the it, it's so freeing to just say what you want, and it's like, oh, it's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And something that I find really interesting, because here's the thing, I'm a little bit of a fibber. I'm a little bit of a fibber. I like to fib. I like to have fun and joke around and talk about shit that isn't real because it's not real, so it's a joke, you know? And I don't know why I do it, but like someone can ask me a question and I'll just go off. Like I remember, as I stated before, I was working at a hotel and this guy was coming in and we were talking, and he pointed out uh, the community coat rack that one of the ladies at my work set up for all of the ladies to kind of, that way if it get, because our AC is kind of old, so it's either really intense or it doesn't work. So if the AC's on because it's really hot, when you're inside all day, you kind of get cold. So it's like, if you get cold, here's a communal coat rack, leave them here so we can all use them, type thing. And this guy pointed it out because I said I was kind of chilly, and he was like, "Well, there's a communal coat rack. Do you ever use them?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I like to use them, even though they're kind of tight on me, because like standing here and sitting here all day, my shoulders kind of, it kind of helps your posture to kind of be up here like this in the sweater, and kind of like, and I take it off real slow so I don't stretch it out for him." And he was like, "Oh, like and he was kind of feeding into it. Maybe he was a real gullible guy. Maybe he was also kind of joshing around with me, and he was going, "Oh, like you're having like posture issues, like pain and stuff." And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You look a little young for that." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Oh, well, how old are you?" And I go, 31. He goes, "Oh." And I'm not 31. I'm 21. Or I said 34. I said 30 something. And moral of the story is, in going off about how like I do mobility exercises for my hips and stuff, but just bullshitting this guy because I'm just bored at work, and then he started to actually like devote some of his time into giving me tips. So I was like, I'm completely bullshitting you. By the way, I'm 21. I'm fine. Like my coat's right there. You didn't see it, and you know what I'm saying. And I just do that because it brings me joy to kind of just josh around like that, to see kind of how far I can take it to just kind of be mischievous like that. Um, and when I would do that as a child, my mom would go, "Hey, oh, James Patrick," you know. So that's where the name comes from, in case you're wondering. Um, and I just like it, and I think that that's also kind of part of certain cultures, right? And because like I said, I'm pretty much half like Irish, Scottish, fucking Nordic, just like those islands west of Europe, right? Northwest of Europe. In fuck Britain though, and the Queen, R.I.P. Bozo. Um, but people from those regions, and I think it's because inherently we feel such a deep sorrow within us. That's just kind of like if you know any Irish guy or Scottish guy or Scandinavian guy, or they fucking hate themselves, they hate everything, but they're constantly kind of joking and bullshitting and laughing, and that's kind of just like part of the culture. Nothing really matters, but everything kind of feels too heavy all the time. And everyone understands that, so you just joke about it because there's nothing you can really do. But you know what I'm saying? Not the sorrow and misery and no hope for anything because all we have is potatoes that we can't even grow. Part of that, but more so like the make fun of the bullshit, like just bullshit to bullshit. Like Hispanic or Mexicans, Hispanic slash Mexican, Latina. I don't know because I bring this up to say there was this one Mexican, spicy brown maybe. Let's just call it caliente something. Caliente. What's brown? I don't think I should even take a guess in that language. But a little spicy brown. She had a good smile and a nice front porch, whatever. And she rode. We rode the same school bus, right? She would get off 30 minutes before me, so she's only on the school bus 10 minutes. But when she was on the school bus, without giving away her government information, that was her thing. And as a kid, I would play into it because you know what I'm saying. I like to see the bounce house, and she had a nice laugh. And but I would think about it, and I'm like, dude, that girl will just lie for no reason and laugh about it. And as kind of as I was when I was younger, I didn't have the perspective I had now, but it would really upset me because I was like, she'll just lie for no reason about things that I know aren't true, and she thinks it's funny, and it didn't make any sense to me. And then as I got older, I realized I do the same things, and when I would feed into it, I was doing it, and that's just something I value about myself. I think being able to just kind of like look at the shit show in front of you and just be like, well, the fucking potatoes are gone, but at least we can eat the kid. You know what I'm saying? And you're never gonna eat the kid, and the kid knows you're not gonna eat it. But it's just like, you're gonna figure it out. Might as well just fuck around about it, dude. Um, is it immoral to lie? What are you lying about? What aren't you telling the truth about? Is it like, would I call myself a liar? I do tell lies. Am I inherently a liar? No. I do try very hard to tell the truth about things that matter, right? Am I a liar about things that literally do not exist? Yes. Oh, I'm a dirty one. Like that's my favorite thing is just like developing a scenario that is not real and then just I don't know. But if by the odd chance any Latina mommies can let me know if that's something uh kind of prevalent in Hispanic, or is it? I see. I don't know what she was. I don't know if she was Hispanic or like somewhere. Is Hispanic Mexican? See, I don't know. All of that kind of stuff really confuses me. She's some sort of Spanish. See, is it even Spanish? Anyways, um, that's pretty much all the notes I had in terms of what I wanted to talk about. Um, I like doing this. I don't know. I don't know why. I always like during often again I go through phases. When I was very young in school, I was a bit of a troublemaker, right? And I always had long hair. Um, I had long hair. I remember the last time I shaved my head as a kid, one time my dad did it, so I was just like, fuck it, I'll do it too. And then from that point on, I didn't get a lot of haircuts. I would just trim it up, keep it long. And I was always like kind of like the class clown or like the mischievous kid. I would, obviously get myself into trouble and, slap the fuck out of that hot stove, mother. Oh, I love slapping it. Um, and then spitting on knobs and such. Um, and then so I was a young kid in school, let's say kindergarten through the middle of fifth grade, right? And then my family relocated in the middle of fifth grade to a different part of the state, so an entirely different school district. And um, I was like, fuck it, I'll just be different than what I was, because I was like, because I had already taken the approach of, like I'm going to make my peers laugh, um, by being like the bad guy, right? Like in terms of like bad guy in elementary school by like getting yourself in trouble and like causing disruptions and stuff like that. And I had long hair, and then we relocated, and I was like, I can be funny or whatever and not be overtly disrespectful. And that was something I didn't understand when I was very young. And then by the time I started to understand it, I was in too deep into my character almost. Um, I also just didn't care. Maybe I had some behavioral issues I should also reflect on. That's a good point. But for whatever reason, and then I shaved my head. So that's probably, let's say, 7 or 8 years, right? Just long hair. And then when I was, fifth grade would have been 11 or 12, I shaved my head, and it was the first time I hadn't had long hair in a long time, and I remember feeling like I was like different. I remember the reason I wanted to shave my head was because like baseball caps, like or not baseball caps. Of course, baseball caps have always been popular, but like flat brim uh snapbacks were like super in style at the time, like fitted caps. Excuse me. This was probably 2010, 2011, like in that time frame. So like Lids was really popular, like the online hat shop, if you know what that is. But stuff like that was popping. And I had an older brother who was 8 years older than me, so whatever he was kind of. So I shaved my head because I thought that like hats like that looked like shit with long hair, to be honest. And when I was younger, they did. Um, and I wanted to wear hats, so I shaved it, and I was like, dude, I can fucking wear hats now, I'm not like restricted to a beanie or whatever. And then I let my hair grow out, and then through uh and I kind of kept and then once my hair got long again in middle school, I started to cause problems, and I would get in a lot of trouble, and uh you know whether or not it was justified because my teachers were or not, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I was causing a disruption when you shouldn't in those environments, even though I have all sorts of different opinions I could give on environments like that. And then through high school, I mean, just abysmal, right? And then I shaved my head 4 months ago now from really long hair, probably like long red hair, and I just felt different again. I was like, what, you know? And um, and I was talking to my friend Josh about this, and if you look at it from like the perspective of like Native Americans, they think that like there's all sorts of like emotional things or uh, types of different stuff like that you hold in your hair, like memories or stuff. Um, and I genuinely felt that when I shaved my head again, and I bring that all up to say this. I don't know. Uh, this was the true, the real episode one, right? Hopefully, this gives a better understanding of some of the perspectives I have without me being overtly abrasive about like trying to like talk myself through it. I feel more level and like I wanted to do this, and I brought up all of those transitions of me shaving my head and like something small like that, like changing these different phases of my life to different ways, and even though it's a constant, it's different phases. And say all that to say that um, I wish the world was a better place, so I must resolve to become a better man. I've been thinking about that, and I wanted to express it outside of my mind. Um, so yeah, same time next week. Bring that bounce house.